Hi, 6th graders. Today we're going to be looking at estimating with decimals. By the end of this lesson, you want to be able to estimate sums, differences, products, and quotients for problems involving decimals. So when we look at estimating, we want to typically round your numbers to the nearest whole number. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try these next two on your own using what we just talked about in rounding. For 86 and 9/10, we could round that to 87. That would be the nearest whole number. 58 and 4/10 would round to 58. Then if we simply took 87 plus 58 and add them together to get our sum, we would have 145. So we could say that 86 and 9/10 plus 58 and 4/10 is about 145. And for future reference, if you ever see a squiggly equal sign, it means about equal to. Now, depending on how accurate of an estimate you want, we could actually round these to the nearest tens. So 86 and 9/10 would be about 70. 58 and 4/10 would be about, 86 and 9/10 wouldn't be 70. It would be 90. And then 58 and 4/10 would be about 60. So when we added those, we would get 150. So either way, our estimates are relatively close to each other, but both would be fine. Now to find the estimated difference, we can just round to the nearest whole number again. 10 and 38/100 would be about 10. 6 and 721,000 would be about 7. So 10 minus 7 would mean our estimate would be about 3. So you go ahead and pause the video again and then try the word problem if you haven't done so already. So when I went shopping, I brought $50 cash with me. If I already bought a new shirt for $21.96, do I have enough to buy a pair of pants for $26.35? Why or why not? There's a couple different ways that you could approach this. We could start with our $50 and subtract out what we've spent and see what we have left. So $21.96 is about 22. So 50 minus 22 would be 28. So we would say yes, because we have about $28 left, which is more than the 26 needed. That's one way you could look at it. Another way we could look at it is we could actually sit and add our two totals together to see if they added up to 50. So the $21.96 would be about $22. $26.35 would be about 26, and we would see that we would spend approximately $48, which would be less than the 50. So either one of those approaches would be fine. So another thing we can look at when we are estimating are things called compatible numbers. So compatible numbers are numbers that replace numbers used in a problem and are easy to use for mental math. Remember, the whole point of estimating is to get an approximate answer and something that we can easily do without a calculator, because if we had to use a calculator, we might as well just find the exact answer. So guidelines for using compatible numbers for multiplication: we are typically, again, going to round to the nearest whole number or to numbers that are easy to multiply. For division, you want to round to numbers that you can divide without leaving a remainder. So what do compatible numbers look like when we are actually solving a problem? So here we want to estimate each product or quotient. So 32 and 66 tenths. Remember, I want to round to something that's easy to work with for multiplying. So I'm just going to round that to 30, because 32 and 66 tenths, 32 and 66 hundredths would be about 30. 7 and 69 hundredths would be about 8. So here we can multiply 30 times 8, which would give us about 240 as an answer. On our next one, 36 and 5/10 divided by 8 and 241 thousandths. Remember, we want to round to numbers that are easy to divide because we're looking for the quotient. So here I would usually start with your divisor first. So what are we dividing by? We're dividing by 8 and 241 thousandths. Well, 8 and 241 thousandths is about 8. 36 and 5/10 would actually round up to 37, but we want something that's easy to divide by 8, so we have 32 and 40. So I'm going to take 40 because 36 would round up to 40. And we would just do 40 divided by 8, so we would get an answer of about 5. Now, you could also have just taken 36 and 5/10 and changed it to 36, and then maybe changed the 8 and 241 thousandths to a 9, and then you'd have an answer of about 4. Either one of these would be okay, it just depends on how you look at the problem. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do the word problem on your own. If I spent $58.80 on 11 8/10 pounds of turkey for Thanksgiving, about how much did I pay per pound? So if we look at $58.80, that's about 60. So we can say we spent about $60 on our turkey. 11 8/10 pounds is about 12 pounds. So I would just take 60 divided by 12. My answer would be about $5 per pound.